Excited about the Santa's workshop. Are you going to go with two or?
She's going to report on that later.
She's going to report on it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I wasn't able to make it happen.
We'll call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the October minutes. Anybody have any corrections or additions? If not, need a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the minutes from October.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Unfinished business, office maintenance garage update.
Yeah, the construction crews continue to make progress on our new park office and maintenance shop. They've completed the interior metal wall panels inside the garage area. They continued the interior and exterior stud framing. They've completed the insulation inside the garage walls. They've completed the storm and sanitary install. They formed up the parking lot curbs and poured some of the concrete. They've completed the geogrid and stone install in the front of the aprons, and door frames are set. They're looking in this next week to prep the stone and put the base of the asphalt down. They want to get the base of the asphalt down yet this year, and then put the surface on in the springtime is what they're planning on doing. Continuing mechanical rough ends. They were pouring some concrete today. I noticed they were starting to frame the exterior studs on the mezzanine part of it in the front on the Indiana Street there. So they continue to working, and it's coming together. And at our last meeting, our last construction meeting, they were still on course for March 1st. So things are moving right along.
Cool. Any questions? Next up, Center Lake Pavilion update.
That too is moving along. I don't know if you've been by there. They're working on the roof right now. They've got that off, trying to get that secured up before the snow flies. They're doing interior framing. They've did foundation work inside for the strong wall. That's back to where we opened up the concession stand, and it goes to the lake there. They've got to put a strong wall in there, so they're doing that. The exterior roof line was held together by scab 2x8, so they're putting laminate beams through there, straightening the roof line up. Just a lot of things come together. We've also contracted All Pro Sound that went through the Board of Works out of Fort Wayne. They're a division of Sweetwater out of Fort Wayne, so they'll be doing the sound, the projector, projection, the screen, the sound. Very professional outlay. It'll be user-friendly for people. It won't be as complex as this. It'll be a matter of going over to the screen and pushing a button of what you want, and it'll all be integrated and set up that way. So it'll also be set up that it can be used independently on the small room or the big room, or it can be used as one together, so it'll integrate together. So a lot of good working options. It was nice to have a professional sound person come in and really tell us, you know, the options and let us choose how fancy we wanted to go. But we're doing the basics, but they understand through their contractual work that it's got to be user-friendly, especially since it's a rental facility. So we've got Cottage Watchman. They're going to do the security, the camera systems, the key fobs. We're going to go to key fobs instead of keys. With that being said, you know, if it happens, renters lose their keys. Well, we can replace it with a 50-cent key fob and change the code every time that happens, as opposed to having to rekey keys and issue keys, and so it makes sense. So we're trying to lean that way on our office and maintenance shop, and then the pavilion, and then in the future we would like to do that with the rest of our rental facilities too. So, but it's coming right along. They're on schedule as well, so things are moving.
Questions, comments? Okay. New business, Dave McCool, Young Tiger football and cheerleading.
Yeah, I know the board had asked me to, it'd be a good idea to have Young Tigers and the Higher Park BMX come and talk and kind of explain, you know, the collaboration between the the Parks Department and their organizations and what they offer. So I've asked Dave and Kyle Tom to come tonight and kind of speak to you and let you know how their seasons have went and, what they're doing for our community and our park system. So Dave, right.
Thank you. Real quick, record numbers this year. And it's a real exciting thing to see. We have 226 football players this year and 130 cheerleaders. So the cheerleading's closing in on us. It's pretty exciting times. I think there's multiple reasons for that. One is I think we really strive to do the right things with the kids. Another huge part of that is all of you sitting here in the Parks Department. The visibility we have down at Fribley Field is unreal. And we just want to keep adding to it and making it nicer and get that draw going on. The third part of the equation is having Coach Curtis here in town, who does a fantastic job with our high school kids. And we work hand in hand with him. So that's a huge part of, I think, our success and why our numbers are really going crazy at this point. So I think back 20 years ago when we started with one team and 24 kids. So it's exciting time. And like I said, all of you in the park department, we owe a lot of gratitude to. Hopefully we'll get to see you all at the hot chocolate stand this year down at the lights, because we go down and run that every year. And now we got Coach Curtis sending down high school boys to help with that. And it's a really cool thing. And we just love being a part of this community. So with that being said, if you got any questions, I'm glad.
Do you have an estimate on how many people have gone through your program and are playing on the high school team?
I haven't even thought about those numbers, but we could probably come up with them pretty easily. 20 years, a lot of kids. I do know that. And with 350 plus kids this year that we're being allowed to hopefully affect their lives in the right manner, teach positive things. We kind of view it as it's not just football we're teaching. Hopefully we're teaching some life lessons along with that. And so I credit a lot of that to the manner in which we set it all up and what we've gone about. And our equipment's second to none, literally. We think our kids are worth putting in the best equipment that we possibly can. So we always strive to get them in good equipment, keep them safe, teach them the right things. We made some strides this year with getting new Rydell helmets they're called the Insight series. And what they allow us to do is tweak our coaching, because it's a computerized system within the helmet. So we can actually read, are there big hits going on? Are we doing the right things as coaches to take care of our kids? We've all heard about the big concussion thing with the NFL. We don't see it so much at our level because our kids, well, they're not 300 pounds and they're not running 4, 5, 40 times. But we are always working to try and improve the safety and anything we can do to take care of the kids in our league. And so we just appreciate the opportunity that the park department has given us. When we came in years ago and pitched the idea of building a football field where it's at now, and they said, well, we'd love to have a football field there, but it's not in our budget. We said, well, if you approve us, we'll make it happen. We will work around the clock, and that's what we've done. We don't really ever stop. So this is the off season, but it's not really the off season for us because we're planning for next year. What can we add? How can we help the park? So that's one of our big goals, is anything we can give back to our community and certainly to the Parks Department. We take great pride in that.
One of the things I like about Young Tigers, I've been involved in Young Tigers, as you all know, but one thing I like there's so many people that give their dedicated time. They're unpaid, but yet they're there every night, coaching, helping, doing whatever. Every kid gets to play. I mean, it's mandatory that they play. They play so many plays, so many downs, so it's not like, they come and they sit on the sidelines while the good guys play. I mean, everybody's being taught. Everybody gets to experience it. And I think Dave and his staff have did a tremendous job down there. There's a core of about 5 or 6. I'm just the treasurer now. I don't do much down there. I used to coach and do all that, but they're doing an amazing job, and there's about 5 or 6 of them, and every year they've got to find new coaches and new people, and they come through every year for that, and it's just a testament to their will to make this thing work, and
Stubbornness
he's
or
absolutely
something.
right. I mean, Coach Curtis coming to town, coaches came, and he's integrated with our parks. They do their spring training in our parks. They run the sledding hill at Kelly Park. They do Lucerne Park. They do the beaches. They run the beaches on their Hell Week that they have. But he actually moved some picnic tables for us with their exercises. They put 6 guys on a picnic table and they press them and they move them around for us. So it's all a good collaboration between all of us, and I think it's just a good thing. Thank you.
Dave, you mentioned that the monitoring of the helmets, how does that, is that an individual, each individual helmet is?
Well, I should clarify this, because we actually purchased 6 helmets this last year. They're about $400 a piece. Our goal is to sprinkle some throughout each level
Okay.
so that we can monitor, are we teaching the right things? Because you can believe you are when you see it enforced, then you know that we're doing the right things. So just another tool.
Sure.
We had this discussion before the meeting tonight. Back when I coached, it was all about smash mouth, hitting all the time. And now it's more about technique, fundamentals, less contact during practice, and then contact during the game, just to protect those kids. And that's just another way that Dave's trying to do that.
We have really scaled back contact.
Yeah.
We do virtually, I don't want to say we don't do contact in practice, but it's virtually. USA football requires us to only have 30 minutes of contact during any practice. We got it back to about 5 or 10 minutes. So I think the proof is in the pudding when you look at the success we're having at the high school. We're all running Coach Curtis's system, from Young Tigers all the way through the school system up to the high school. So the last thing we want to do is get kids hurt and scare any away from football. Because you don't know. Like Larry said, when we talk about all kids play, you cannot look at an 8 or a 9-year-old and say, well, that kid's going to be quite the football player when he gets to high school. You don't know. So you have to treat them all like they're going to be superstars down the road. And that's one of our goals. So,
Dave,
Thanks
just
for
a quick
coming.
question about the cheerleading program. Are there both boys and girls in the cheerleading program?
we've had boys and girls. It's predominantly girls.
Right.
But we've had both, yes.
You just, it gets to a certain level, and then you have to have the boys, you always see the boys at the college level, the boys and the
Correct.
girls teams, and so it's nice to see.
We don't
when
get a
can
lot
get
of
some
them
boys on our
out doing
team,
that,
our
but the
squads.
ones that do, we definitely allow. We don't discourage any kid from participating in our program.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, and thank you for all you guys do for
Oh,
the
my
kids
pleasure,
down
and
there
thank
in
you
the
guys.
city.
You guys have been awesome, so thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Next up, Kyle Tom from Higher Park BMX.
Good evening. As you just said, I'm Kyle Tom with Higher Park BMX. I'm on the board member, or I am a board member. Dan Rumpel is our manager, and he senses regrets that he had a prior commitment. So a little bit about Higher Park. We are a 501c3, And we are excited to be part of the Parks Department's initiative here. So what we do, we try to get our kids, any kid out. I say kid, but there's actually, ladies and gentlemen, older than I am out there falling and actually having a very good time. We have an assortment of people out there, male and female, coming from Michigan, they're coming from Hobart. We've got Fort Wayne, we've got Kokomo, Wabash, Rochester. A lot of people come here just for the pure satisfaction that Higher Park is one of the best parks around. In northern Indiana, I think we're ranked 6th in all the state, but that actually puts us above Fort Wayne, Hammond, and a few others around here. So we're very excited about that. And a lot of that has to do with our manager. You know, Dan Rumpel is amazing. He's also our speaker. You know, he's out there announcing on a daily basis. And if he can't do it, we've got a rider, a kid from Hammond, that does an amazing job. He actually gets out there on his bike, puts his headset on, and as he's racing, he will announce. It's the greatest thing. And he's always looking back, oh, you're not going to catch me. But it's great. So I'm honored to be part of the organization. I just started last year because at that point in time, my 9-year-old heard about this, and he wanted to come and try it out. And now I'm there every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I don't know if I'm happy about it or not, but I got involved in the concession stand, and now I'm full-time in the concession stand. I go to Fort Wayne once a week, get all the food that we need and drinks, and really enjoy it. So if you've got just a second, I'll give you some numbers of how we're faring on our riders. On average, we average on Saturdays 38 riders per Saturday. A little bit less than that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday we do our practice. Thursday and Saturday we have our races. So new full-time riders. We picked up 10 full-time riders this year. That's down from past previous years. I would say 5-year average is what I've got. A lot of that I think is attributed to it's not cheap to get into. With the economy dropping, we're seeing a lag on that. You know, for instance, you can get into a bike for a true BMX bike for anywhere from $500. I've seen bikes up to $4,000. So it's not cheap to get into. Renewals this year, we've gotten 62 renewals. And so that's great, and that's just for Higher Park. We have multiple people come from out of state, and I'll get to that in a second. One of our biggest races was 313 people. So imagine trying to find spots in the parking lot and everything for 313 people. So that's been a great. That was a great ride. We did really well on that. Those are times that concession stand can't withstand that whole thing, so we bring in something else like pizza or something, and we sell it. We get donations from Pizza Hut, Domino's, and Papa John's for that as well. Motos, largest one we had was 210 motos. So picture anywhere from 3 to 8 people in a moto. A moto is one race. So we've also done a lot of things to the track this year that makes people, it kind of draws people in. For instance, we redid, there's 4 different straights at the track, so we redid number 3 and number 4, add few more challenges to the track, which people, from what I hear, loved, because I've never actually been around the track. Bad knees. So, and we're also putting it in a timing system. We've got it about 3/4 of the way installed as of right now, but just time got away from us. So we will have that up and running by May. So we're very happy about that. that is a lot of, so that way you're actually competing against yourself, not against everybody. So you can constantly keep track on how you did last moto versus your next moto. Just a little chip on your bike, and we sell those as well if you don't have one already. Every track that has this timing system, these little chips, you can go from track to track to track, so you don't have to purchase new chips every single time. But we feel really confident that this next year is going to be even better than this previous year, just because you're starting to see a wave of new riders come in. So we're very excited about that, and we really appreciate everything that the Parks Department, specifically Larry. I mean, I know Dan's called you numerous times, and you get back to him pretty much right away, and we'll appreciate everybody's help here. And you're all welcome to come out and ride anytime you'd like.
Well, Kyle, we're proud to have the Warsaw BMX in the park system. Dan and your crew, I mean, it's just unselfishness. I mean, you guys are out there all the time working on the facility, and to have something like that in our park system is just amazing. I mean, I know it is one of the top tracks in the state. I hear that not just from Warsaw, surrounding communities. So, what you guys are doing is a great thing, and we're blessed to have you in the park system. That's for sure.
Well, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we have. I mean, I know the Garcias. They drive 80 miles down here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from Michigan, because their track up there is they say they don't like it. So we've actually beat a lot of indoor tracks just because our track is one of the best that we feel, and our numbers are showing us in the state. So, but
I've seen over the years, I mean, when Jerry Landrum started that, it was a decent track, and then Dan got involved, and we had it redone, and then we brought a pro out of California to redo it, and I thought it was a great track, and the next thing I know, Dan's out there wanting to rip it up again, and same way with this year. I mean, he wanted to redo it again, but that's what it takes to keep the track up and make it competitive. So I mean, it's just dedication on your guys' part that's really made that facility. So,
right, we put in the 2 new straights, a new corner, and the timing system. So the timing system's really I think it's gonna be a game changer this year.
Yeah.
So we do have, we've had numerous, I think we've had 3 rookie camps. It's where you come out, you've never ridden before at Higher Park or any other BMX track. So we have these camps where we have professionals come in, and they teach them how to take off from the gate, how to pump. You should be able to go all the way around the track if you wanted to without pedaling, just by pumping every time you go up over a hill and then kind of glide down. Like I said, I've seen it done, never done it. But the professionals come in. I mean, these guys travel around the U.S. teaching these things, and they are the best in the class. We do pay them, but it's worth it because excuse me. We have the kids come in, they learn so much from it, and we learn as well. We see these kids going around, and it's not just a one-time occurrence. These kids are coming back over and over. So I'm open for questions or comments.
Anybody have anything?
Excuse me.
Well, once again, thank you guys for everything down there. And I know I had a grandson involved there for a couple of years, and it is quite a program.
It is. Dan has really reset everything, I would say, in the past, 7-8 years. So he's done a really good job on building it.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, next up is the rental fee review.
Yeah, we have attached the current 22 rental fees, and I put the 21 rental fees in there too, so you can kind of compare where we were in 21 to 22. I'd just like to open it up to the board for discussion on the current fees and see if you feel the need to increase any of these, or comments, or what you think. So I'll turn it over to you, Steve.
Well, Center Lake, we'll have to wait,
Yes.
see what
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna do
something
there.
that I thought in January or February we'd start on that, because
Yeah.
that's going to be a whole new animal, because we've got 2 rental facilities there, and we're going to have to think about, as a whole, individually, and and some other things, setups and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll exclude that on this one.
Okay, fireman's building, do we rent that out quite a bit?
Yes.
It's really been here since the pavilion's been down. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of things are shifting out there as well, so yes.
And we have not raised that one. How are we doing? Do we make money down there, lose money, or?
We're in the black. With that being said, I mean, if you take out utilities and, pest control, things like that, I mean, we're making a profit there. But then if you take employees' rates, supply rates, which are, both of those are going up in cost, that's what you've got to weigh a little bit, I think, is the cost of supplies, the cost of wages to clean the buildings and to supply the buildings is going up. So whether you leave that, we're in the black now, or excuse me, the profit side of it now. Do you leave that there, or do you anticipate these supplies and stuff going up? And that's what we got to, that's where you need to be and find out that
I'm
middle
sure
ground. So,
utilities
yeah.
are gonna be going up.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen about a 15 to 20% increase in supplies, and and they're saying that on the NIPSCO rates too, probably a 15% raise. So.
On the fireman's building, the weekday, what time frame is that? Is that from early in the morning to
It's 7 a.m. to 10.
7 to 10?
Yes,
And on the weekend,
same thing.
and that's a Saturday and Sunday?
Yes. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the weekend
Okay.
rates. Yes,
And that's then $250 per day,
correct.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yes.
The comparison of weekday versus weekend, I would assume it's mostly weekend rental?
Yes. Mostly, and then we have some, like if there's a funeral dinner or a spade and neuter comes in there, things of that during the week. But yeah, but the majority, you're right, are on
And that's a
weekends,
full kitchen, full service kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Anybody have any suggestions here? I think we at least need to consider
Obviously,
covering our costs.
We didn't, nothing's been raised since
Yeah.
2021, as Larry said. In fact, just
2020, actually.
supplies.
Yeah.
I know we're all reluctant to raise it, but I think the reality is we've got to do something with that.
Anybody have any suggestions?
If we were looking at, do you think, Larry, $50 each for the weekday and $50 on a weekend is enough to help offset costs, or is that enough?
No, I think that's plenty. Yeah. Yeah.
So if weekend,
Are you saying that for all of these?
we're talking the fireman's bill.
Fireman's
Okay.
building right now.
Yeah.
If weekday, consider $250, and then $300 on the weekend.
Is that a motion?
I don't know, it is hard because people are going to have less money to use to do these things. And, I kind of hate to see it go up for funeral dinners and things. That's a little, I don't know.
I would even think, Larry, like 225 and maybe
Mm-hmm.
275. I mean,
Would cover.
I think
Help
that
cover
might
costs.
cover where we're at, because we are a little bit in the good, so, yeah.
Jim, what do you
Yeah.
think about that?
I like that better.
I like that better.
Just because I know a lot of the families, they can't afford a bigger place, or they look for a middle
In the fireman's building, we've made significant changes, upgrades to that.
Oh, yeah.
We have,
In a
and-
couple of years, so.
And Suzanne's looked at some other rental facilities, and it's still a really good bargain. I mean, all our rental facilities are really a good bargain compared to other communities, but,
And once you rent it, it doesn't matter what the weather is,
yeah, you're right.
you get to use it.
I would make a motion, the fireman's building, we would then increase the weekday to, from 200 to 225. And then from the weekend, from 250 to 275.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'd second that.
Motion and a second to raise, to go up $25 a day during the weekend, on the weekend. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next up, Nye Youth Cabin. And I'm gonna guess that's probably a lot the same, isn't it?
It is.
Do we
It is.
don't rent that out quite as much.
Actually, we do.
Do we?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, actually, we do. Yeah,
More.
if not more, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Is the gazebo part of the rental when they do the youth cabin over there now?
It is not.
It is not,
No,
okay.
yeah. Although we've had rentals that required, they require extra picnic tables out back and stuff, and we do accommodate them that way and stuff, but,
Is there
For
something
a
in the
fee.
contract that says you can't use a gazebo, like when you,
no, you're welcome to use it, it's just not part of your rental.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to get there
Anybody's
early.
welcome to use
so
it,
you,
yeah.
oh, okay, okay.
And the hour is the same, 7 to 10 on the cabin,
Yes.
youth cabin.
Yes,
So if you have to put out picnic tables, then do they have to pay for the picnic tables?
they do,
Yep.
yes, yes. Yeah, we've had several do that.
And those are $15?
In the park, they're 5.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only reason a lot of them do that is just so, they're like 50-year reunion, class reunions and things of that, so they can be outside for a while, but yet they have the building to go into, and it's air conditioned, and be inside and have their parties and stuff, but, so
I didn't
just
know
some
we could do
additional
that.
tables
Good to
for
know.
outside. Yeah.
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 And here again, that one hasn't been raised for quite a while.
Is $25 also good?
Like 150 and 175.
Is that a motion?
That was a question, but it can't be a motion. Yeah,
Well, I think that would be a big help.
yeah, a motion to move up $25 from 125 to 150 and 150 to 175.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second to go up $25 a day for the Nye Youth Cabin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Okay.
have a question. It's not a proposal, Steve, it's just a question. Does it make sense to, like, take these individually, or to say, as a group, we want to raise a certain percentage across the board in order to keep up with the inflation, all the increased costs that we're incurring now? And like I say, it's just a question. I mean, I'm fine with taking it line by line, but Larry, what do you think?
I think probably line by line would be best, because the firemen's and night cabin require more supplies and things as opposed to a cabin or an amphitheater or a plaza rental.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that makes sense.
But I'm not saying that that wouldn't be a bad thing, Michelle, but I mean, yeah,
Just asking the question. That works for me.
yeah.
Okay, next up is Lucerne Cabins. And do we rent those out much, or?
They're, during the weekends, they're almost booked solid
Good.
most of the time, aren't they? Yeah, yeah. Not so much during the week. It's the same rental fee as we have here, but
Yeah.
the weekends are pretty much
But we
booked.
do have some groups that'll rent it, like Presby Preschool did their nature camp out there last year for 6 weeks, so
Oh.
they took up a good chunk of the summer.
And there's no facilities inside them.
But there's picnic tables in each side of each cabin, and then, of course, the restroom is the restroom building, but, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. They're all handicapped, we made them all handicap accessible now, so every cabin's handicapped accessible.
Is there electricity?
There is electricity, yes.
Are they only available through a certain time period because the restrooms are out?
April 15th to October 1st. Yep.
And I take it the upkeep on them, the cleanup and things isn't as much as other bigger buildings?
Correct, yeah. We're basically sweeping those out, just checking, the tables, wiping the tables down and stuff like that, but, yeah. They don't seem to take as much attention as a fireman's building or a night cabin, but, the one thing I see here that I might suggest is the weekday. I think the weekday rental is probably good, just so we can keep that and see if we can get more weekday rentals during the week.
Yes.
But the weekend rental, I think when you get 4 cabins rented per weekend, I think that could go up a little bit as our guys come in and clean all 4 of those on the weekends to do that for the next day, but just a suggestion.
Nobody wants to
What-
think
what
out
a-
loud
what a-
anymore.
What would you think of a $100 increase on the weekend? Is that,
You mean go up to 100?
to go up to
Yeah,
100, yes.
okay.
And leave
Like
the
a big
weekday
thing.
75 and go to the weekend to 100? Is that adequate or not? In your,
I don't think you're far off there, Larry. I know when you go to state parks, they're $90, $100
Yeah.
for one of those. So,
Lucerne, I'd make a motion to keep the weekday rental at its $75, but increase the weekend to 100.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second on Lucerne Cabins to go up to 100 on the weekends only. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Lucerne Amphitheater.
Does it get rented out a lot?
It's rented about 10 or 12 times this year. It's been used for a lot of activities. It's been used for some lakes and stream educational purposes, things of that sort. I would feel comfortable if that remained where it was at.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay, now the campground.
Do you want to look at the gym rental?
The gym rental? Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I
Yep.
missed that.
Yep.
What was I thinking? Okay, Peathorn Gym Rental. $40 an hour. Does that cover us?
Well, typically they, when they rent that, they rent for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, we're $120 there. We just had the farmer's market in there last Saturday, rented that. And basically Sean and I went in and dust mopped it, and then we mopped it. So, I think that's adequate. I think it's fair. We've had,
And they're able to set up chairs in there, or tables?
they set tables up there. We provide and make sure that they've got the rubbers on the bottom of the tables, and that's what they use, yes.
Do you have to clean the restrooms every time as well?
We don't. Gene, our cleaning service, does that.
Okay.
Yes, he does that at the night.
Is the farmer's market going to be there through the
Through the winter,
winter?
yes, every
Because of the pavilion?
Every
Okay.
third
Every
Saturday.
third Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every third Saturday.
And they're there for what, 3 hours?
It's 9 to 1, isn't it?
They have from 8 to 2 and the markets from 9 to 1,
Yeah.
so they have time for vendors to come in and go out.
Okay.
But the setup time is not in that.
No, we do not set that up. They bring it in. We have the tables there for them, and just for the farmer's market.
I think she's asking the $40, right?
Right, because
So
what was
here's-
coming in after we were there for Imagination Station, they were already putting up tables and taking down tables, and all of that is like on you.
let me clarify this. The gym rental is not designated for tables and chairs. The gym rental is to rent the gym. The reason we're giving the farmer's market our tables to use is because they normally use the Center Lake Pavilion. And Joe would like for them to use our gym at Pete Thorne. So that's why they're using our tables, just to accommodate, because we do not have the Center Lake Pavilion because it's under construction. I think after you, was it the Threads of Valor?
Yes.
That was the event. So that's a senior event who rents the facility. They rent the facility, the whole facility. That's the seniors facility. That's who ran that program. That's why they used tables. They brought their tables down and used our tables as well. But as far as when we're talking of 40 hours per hour, $40 per hour for gym rental, it's the gym you're renting, not the tables, not the chairs. It's the gym itself.
So most of the people who rent it play basketball or
Play
something?
basketball, or they have
baseball,
soccer,
softball.
kids soccer, or, practice with a Nerf ball for softball, things of that sort, and sporting events, yes. Yes,
So then there's not much set up.
correct.
But
Yes,
anybody can rent for like basketball tournaments and.
yes. Yeah. After hours, after 4 o'clock, because the senior center and our programs, as long as it's not conflicting with the program that the park is having, which we have it on our calendar, we have that through Suzanne, so they can come in and, like, Naomi, if you come in and say, hey, I would like to rent the gym tonight from 5 to 8, we see if it's available, we rent it just like a rental facility like the night youth cabin or the fireman's.
And your after hours are 5 p.m. and
4 o'clock.
4.
Yeah. So it'd be like 4 to 10.
Any motions to raise, or do we want to leave it alone?
Leave it alone.
Okay. We'll leave it alone. Next thing is the Senior Activity Center lease.
I think we raised that, did we raise that last year?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Or was it 19?
The same last year.
20. So it must have been the 20 we raised
Yeah.
it. I think, it's a very good deal what they're getting there, but there's two folds to that story. I mean, we're looking, they do provide things for the seniors that a lot of our programming doesn't offer. They have programming for the seniors. It is a place for the seniors to come and walk and use that building. So I think it gives that part of our recreation for the seniors through the Senior Opportunity Center. I know Dave lost some funding through United Way as well. So I would recommend that we keep it there. I think we're pretty much at a wash at that building with the Wayne Township funds. I would just hate to see, that get out of hand and them not be able to afford that facility, because I think it's a good thing they've got going there.
Then let's
Everybody
leave it
okay
alone.
with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now campground.
So that one we adjusted last year, I think.
We adjusted, yes, we did changed everything, and the seasonal went up $100 last year, if I remember right.
The daily fee there's, would I be wrong to say that there's not many per day rentals?
I would say you're absolutely right. Usually we get there's a spot, sometimes we get a week or a monthly rental. We do have an occasional that'll stop by a day and have a site there, but,
There's quite a few that rent for 3-day weekends.
yeah.
Do
I
they?
think they only had,
Yeah.
like 5 spots last year
Yeah,
available
4 or
for
5,
daily?
yeah, yeah.
Everything else was,
So a 3-day
Pretty
weekend, they
much
rent
booked.
by the day then?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And how many sites are kept out for daily?
Last year we kept between 4 and 6
Yeah.
sites to either do daily, weekly,
Yeah.
or monthly, yeah.
Of course, the electricity increase is gonna have an impact with that, the campground is.
But you're gonna be able to bill each person, right?
No.
No,
Well, I thought that's what all the new electric was going to go, so that you can bill.
No, that's a whole different ballgame, as Larry can tell you that, because what we're doing is the power will be on each row, and it'll be metered, but it won't be metered individual trailers. Yes, yes. We had looked at that probably 20-some years ago with John Sadler when he was on the board, and the cost to do that were astronomical, to put individual gas meters and electric meters and everything at every site. It just wasn't economic.
Do they use a lot of?
They run their air conditioners 24/7 out there.
Yeah.
And they usually
When
have.
they're gone.
They usually have dual air conditioners in each motorhome, so.
So yes, they do.
Well, the daily people aren't gonna leave it for a week and come back just on the weekend, so. Yeah, that one we left alone last year.
The dock rentals.
I figured it up, if you did I don't have my paper here with me, but I think I can remember this. If you rented it by the month, you were paying $3,300, and we were charging $2,200 for a season.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big break.
and then if you did it by a week, you were at the $6,000 mark, so I mean, yeah, so there's a break there. But,
well, and I did some figuring too, but the seasonal, roughly, it's about $15 a day
yeah,
on a seasonal.
That's not much.
No,
Yeah.
it's not much at all. Monthly, it's what, about $20, $21 a day seasonally. Are you considering 7 days a week, a weekly fee? Is a
Yeah.
weekly 7 days?
And most of those seasonal people stay the whole, move in on day one and move out on
yes.
the last day.
Their campers do, not, they don't necessarily
Yeah.
live in their
Yes.
campers, but, yeah.
Yeah,
And the,
But we've already said the camper is
Yes.
using the electricity.
It is,
which
yeah.
So,
and that's gonna be the seasonal using most electricity.
Yeah.
so it sounds like we should increase the seasonal because $15 a day, a lot of that is electricity.
If we threw out, for the sake of throwing something out here, if we increase the weekly rental by 50, the monthly by 100, and the seasonal by 200, what's the thought from everybody there? Is that, Larry, what's your? $2,400 for a seasonal, $700 for a monthly, and $300 for a weekly.
It would be
well, your
cheaper to
daily,
rent
you
it
can
by
rent it
day than
daily
by
for
week,
$280 a week.
if you did that.
Say that again, I did.
The daily is only 40 a day, that's 280 for 7 days, that'd be cheaper than renting it for a week.
The
Yeah.
campground manager made an interesting comment to me. He said, Larry, if we had less seasonals and I rented it more weekly and monthly, we would make more revenue.
Yeah.
And so that kind of lends to tell me that the seasonal rate is a little bit low and that the weekly and monthly aren't that bad to me. But I think the seasonal, because if you raise the monthly and, by $100 and you raise the seasonal by $200, you're actually raising the monthly more,
A higher percentage,
higher
yeah.
percentage than that.
Yeah,
So,
And those are the ones that are putting the drain on the power grid, so to speak, and using up that, which I think goes back then to what Jill was saying. Does it make sense just to raise that one?
How long is the season?
April 15th to October well, September 30th.
About
It's-
5.5 months.
It's 169 days, 5.5 months, 24.14 weeks.
Study this.
Sound pretty sure about all that. Okay.
I've been over this a couple times, but
So they're
I
not
should've wrote
even
that down.
paying $400 a month.
Do what?
They're not even paying $400 a month to rent.
So is 2,500 too much? Again, question.
Go up 300?
That's what we're saying, right? That the season should be raised in a bigger percentage than anything else.
Let's see.
Question.
Well, if you leave the monthly where it's at, they're at $3,300 for the year. So I think you can kind of base that off of the seasonal off of that, because the seasonal is supposed to give you a little bit of a break, saying that you're going to be there every month. So you can kind of ration between 3,300 and where it's at now. So, you know, whatever kind of break you want to make that for a seasonal. If you understand what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
27.
They're getting a month free at 25.
Yeah.
If we went 25, we
Yeah.
went 2,500 for a seasonal, kept everything else the same, a seasonal's getting a full month.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd be getting a month, a little over a month.
Yeah,
Buy three, get
A
one
month and a
free.
third. Yeah, a month and a third.
yeah.
Wait, I still think it's a good way to.
And I think
learn.
over the years, that's kind of the way that was set up, that if you rent a seasonal, you're saving a month's rent. Yeah, and I think that's the way it's always been ever since I've been here. But, you know, that was kind of the incentive. If you stay with us all season, we'll give you a month, you know, that month free as opposed to renting it monthly. But,
So I propose we move the seasonal pass from 2,200 to 2,500.
Leave everything else the same?
And leave everything else the same.
I'd second that.
So that was to go up to 2,500?
Yes.
Okay. We have motion and a second to raise the seasonal from 2,200 to 2,500 and leave the other rates alone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, dock rental.
We raised this last year, I believe. Yeah, we went from 150 to 200 for the seasonal rental.
Yeah.
The other two
So,
stay the same.
and then we raised the, I guess that was in 20, we raised the wood, but I'm fine with those costs.
Okay. So dock rental, guest pass, wood, are all okay with you?
What's a guest pass for?
If you have a site and a guest comes in and stays with you for the night, that's above and beyond your family. It's like I came to visit you, but I'm not family, and I come in and I want to spend the night and put it with you, is $3.
Do people ever pay that?
We hardly ever see that. That was something more, I think, more back when we allowed tents,
Oh.
but it's always been in there. So, yeah.
Okay, delivered items, picnic tables. Inside city limits 15, outside 20.
When's the last time you guys upped those?
I think it was either,
In the last couple of years as well. I
yeah,
think.
it was
It's
in
been a
20. I
couple of
think it
years,
was in
yeah.
20, we raised that, almost doubled it, didn't we?
I
Yeah.
thought
I think
so.
so, yeah.
Of course, gas is almost
I was
doubled
gonna
again.
say. is-
Sure, yeah.
is it keeping up the gas prices?
But people do really love this.
They do, they do.
There's nowhere else they can get it.
True.
We
Yeah.
got a monopoly on that one.
you know, I think with the fees the way they are, I mean, we're covering, you know, if we can cover our cost, and I think it's just more of a service to our
Yeah,
citizens. I'm comfortable where they're at.
Good,
You know.
everybody okay?
I like that.
Yep.
All right. Park facilities, picnic tables, $5 fee.
I'm good with that.
Good with that?
I can remember charging them $1 on Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was 30-some years ago.
And a lot of
Maybe you can
the-
charge
Yeah.
maybe you can charge the football players as a,
Yeah, absolutely.
weight
Yeah.
room fee.
Picnic shelters.
Just out of curiosity, I assume those are rented mostly on the weekends?
They are, we do have some during the weeks. But typically, I mean, they're almost all rented.
Yeah.
I mean, from Bixler, the two at Bixler, the two at Central Park, the Kelly Park, we've been Prairie, Byers always rented.
It
They're a
seems
hot
like they're
commodity.
busy.
Yeah.
And then that requires you guys to go in and sweep and
Yep.
pick up trash?
Right.
Pick up
And
trash.
you wipe down the
clean
tables
tables,
too?
yeah. And we do get quite a bit of trash out of those rentals.
Yeah, I've seen.
Have those gone up any?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, I think.
I think it went from 25 to 50 last time, didn't
3
it?
or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Do we want to raise them?
Think about going to like 75 on picnic shelters. Leaving the picnic tables in the park at 5.
You don't have any electric cost.
There's shelters, there's electric at
Yeah.
shelters.
There are?
There
Yeah.
is, yes, at all the shelters.
Yep, that's where we plug in for church.
Oh, I guess I never thought about that.
As part
My
of my
concern
morning
is-
routine on the weekends is double checking the GFIs, making sure they're not tripped,
My
so.
concern is the trash that you guys have to pick up. You know, it's-
It's excessive in some,
I've seen
Yeah.
some of them pretty trashed and then they leave stuff hanging up and you guys have to clean that up too.
I was
and there's
wondering,
time we
do
have to
we have
power
a,
wash and, yeah.
Yeah.
do we have a down payment, like a condition thing that they can get back if it's cleaned up and in a
Security
reasonable,
deposit?
a security deposit?
Yeah, just
that
like
we
the
could, do we do those fees?
rentals.
We don't, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because then people who are conscientious and clean up after they're done would have it for $50, but the person who leaves a mess for you would have, spend $100 on it because they're not getting their $50 down payment fee back or something like that. I don't know.
I think sometimes that opens up another can of worms. That
Yeah.
they say, oh, no, we left it just fine, and you're saying, no, it wasn't this way. Somebody must have come in after the fact, and
Yeah.
Yeah, because when they do rent them, how fast do you guys get out there to look at? Since it's not like a
Well, a lot of
lot.
times they're rented multiple, they'll be rented on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so, I mean, our guys come in 6 o'clock, some of them start at 5 o'clock in the mornings on Saturdays and Sundays to clean these, to get them ready for the next room.
But it would be possible for somebody to have a lunch type of party and then be gone in the afternoon, and other people could get in there after that, between us cleaning, so.
I'd move to, on the park facilities, to keep the $5 fee for the picnic tables, but raise the picnic shelters to 75.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to leave the picnic tables at 5, raise the shelters to 75.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Miscellaneous, digital marquee rental,
And I'm good with that.
okay.
Yep.
Pavilion set up, do we want to wait and discuss that later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's one of the things, I think we're gonna have to look at pavilion setup, on the small,
Yeah.
the small area, the large area combined.
Yep,
I'll try to break that down, and we'll look at that in January, February, start thinking about that.
Use of
and,
tech will probably be an
yeah.
additional,
Yeah, things and stuff, so.
okay.
Yeah.
And now,
And we used to have to say people were grandfathered in when we did this,
Yeah.
but we require payment when you rent the facility. So there is no grandfathered in. If they've rented them for next year already, they've already paid for that facility at this cost. So starting January 1, these will be the fees.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, up next is the program and event fees.